Job 1. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and he was this blameless, upright, God-fearing man and turned away from evil. And 7 sons and 3 daughters were born to him. And his cattle were 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses. There were also very many servants in his service, so that this man was greater than all those in the east. And his sons went to one another's houses, and feasted each in turn, and they invited their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. Now it came to pass, when the days of their feasting were over, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, Perhaps my children have sinned, and cursed God in their hearts. So Job did continually. And on a day when the children of God came to present themselves before the Lord, Satan also came among them. Then the Lord said to Satan, Where do you come from? And Satan answered the Lord, and said, To compass the earth, and to walk in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Have you observed my servant Job? For there is no one like him on earth, a blameless and upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil. Then Satan answered the Lord, and said, Does Job fear God in vain? Have you not surrounded him and his house and all that he has with a hedge? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his livestock has increased in the land. But stretch out your hand and touch everything he has, and you will see whether he does not blaspheme you to your face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thine hand, only against him do not stretch out your hand. And Satan left the presence of the Lord. And there came a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in the house of their firstborn brother. That a messenger came to Job, and said unto him, The oxen were plowing, and the asses were feeding beside them. And the Sabaeans set upon them, and took them, and smote the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone escaped to bring you the news. While he was still speaking, another came and said, Fire of God fell from heaven, and burned the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I alone escaped to bring you the news. While he was still speaking, another came and said, When the Chaldeans commanded 3 troops, they charged the camels, and took them, and struck the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone escaped to bring you the news. While he was still speaking, another came and said, While your sons and your daughters are eating and drinking wine in the house of their firstborn brother, behold, a great wind came from beyond the desert, and hit the 4 corners of the house, and it fell on the young men, and they died, and I alone escaped to bring you the news. Then Job arose, and tore his cloak, and shaved his head, and cast himself on the ground, and worshipped. And he said, Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away, blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job did not sin, nor did he attribute any fault to God. Job 2. And another day came, when the children of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them, to present himself before the Lord. Then the Lord said to Satan, Where do you come from? And Satan answered the Lord, and said, To compass the earth, and to walk in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Have you observed my servant Job? For there is no one like him on earth, a blameless and upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil, and who still retains his sincerity, even though you incited me against him to consume him without cause. Then Satan answered the Lord, and said, Skin for skin, and all that a man hath he will give for his life. But stretch out your hand and touch his bones and flesh, and you will see if he does not blaspheme you to your face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but he guards his life. Then Satan went out from the presence of the Lord, and smote Job with malignant ulcers, from the sole of his foot to the top of his head. And Job took a shard to scrape with, and he sat in the midst of the ashes. Then his wife said to him, Do you still retain your sincerity? Curse God and die. But he said to him, As any madwoman speaks, you speak. Shall we receive good from God, and shall we not receive evil? In all this Job did not sin with his lips. Now when 3 of Job's friends heard all this evil that had come upon him, they each came from his place, Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, and they agreed to sympathize with him, to console him. And when they lifted up their eyes from afar, they did not know him, and they lifted up their voice and wept, and tore every man his cloak, and threw dust into the air upon their heads. And they sat with him in the land 7 days and 7 nights, and no one said a word to him, because they saw that the pain was very great. Job 3. After this Job opened his mouth, and cursed his day. And Job, speaking, said, May the day in which I was born perish, and the night in which it was said, A man was conceived. Let that day turn into darkness, and God, above, will not care for him, nor let light shine on him. May darkness and the shadow of death contaminate him, let clouds dwell upon it, the darkness of the day frightens him. As for that night, let darkness take over, and let her not rejoice among the days of the year, and don't enter the number of months. Oh! How lonely that night may be, and let there be no voice of joy in it. Let those who curse the day curse her, who are ready to stir up her weeping. Let the stars of their twilight be darkened, let him wait for the light, and not come, and do not see the eyelids of the morning. Because he did not close the doors of the womb, nor did he hide his tiredness from my eyes. Why didn't I die as a mother? And when I came out of the womb, didn't I expire? Why did my knees receive me? And why the breasts, so that she could breastfeed? For now she would lie down and rest, she would sleep, and then there would be rest for me. With the kings and counselors of the earth, who build themselves houses in desolate places. Or with princes who possess gold, who fill their houses with silver. Or as a hidden abortion, it would not exist, like children who haven't seen the light. There the evil ones cease to disturb, and there the weary rest. There the prisoners rest together, and do not hear the voice of the prosecutor. There is the small and the great, and the free servant of his master. Why is light given to those who are miserable, and life to those who are bitter in spirit? Who wait for death, and it does not come, and they dig for it more than for hidden treasures. Who leap for joy and rejoice when they find the grave? Why is light given to a man whose way is hidden, and from whom God has hid it? For before my bread comes my sigh, and my groans pour out like water. For what I feared has come upon me, and what I feared happened to me. I was never at ease, nor did I rest, but trouble came upon me. Job 4. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, If we try to talk to you, will you get bored? But who could contain the words? Behold, you have taught many, and you have strengthened weak hands. Your words have stabilized those who stumbled, and you have strengthened the weak knees. But now that it's about you, you're bored, and touching yourself, you are disturbed. Is not your fear of God your confidence, and your hope the integrity of your ways? Do you remember now who is the innocent who never perished? And where were the sincere ones destroyed? As I have seen, they that plow iniquity, and sow evil, reap the same. With the breath of God they perish, and with the breath of his wrath they are consumed. The roar of the lion, and the voice of the fierce lion, and the teeth of the young lions are broken. The old lion perishes, because he has no prey, and the lioness's children are scattered. One thing was brought to me in secret, and my ears caught a whisper of her. Among thoughts coming from visions of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men. Astonishment and trembling came upon me, and all my bones shook. Then a spirit passed before me, it made the hairs on my flesh stand on end. He stopped, but I didn't recognize his face, a figure was before my eyes, there was silence, and I heard a voice saying, Would he perhaps be a more just man than God? Would he perhaps be a purer man than his Creator? Behold, he does not trust in his servants and attributes madness to his angels. How much less those who dwell in houses of mud, whose foundation is in the dust, and are crushed like moths. From morning until evening they are torn to pieces, and they perish eternally without taking any notice of it. Does not his excellence pass with them? They die, but without wisdom. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and leave a comment. Job. Call now, is there anyone who can answer you? And to which of the saints will you turn? Because anger destroys the madman, and zeal kills the fool. I saw the madman take root, but I soon cursed his room. His children are far from salvation, and they are torn to pieces at the gates, and there is no one to deliver them. The hungry man devours his harvest, and even takes it from among the thorns, and the robber brings his farm. For affliction does not come from dust, nor does labor come from the earth. But man is born to tribulation, as sparks rise to fly. But I would seek God, and to him I would commit my cause. He does great and inscrutable things, and wonders without number. He gives rain on the earth, and sends waters on the fields, to place the slaughtered on a high place, and that the mourners may be exalted in salvation. He destroys the imaginations of the cunning, so that his hands can do nothing. He catches the wise in their own cunning, and the counsel of the wicked rushes forth. They encounter darkness by day, and at noon they grope about as at night. But he delivers the needy from the sword, and from their mouth, and from the hand of the strong. So there is hope for the poor, and iniquity stops his mouth. Behold, blessed is the man whom God rebukes, therefore, do not despise the correction of the Almighty. Because he makes the wound, and he binds it himself, he wounds, and his hands heal. In 6 troubles he will deliver you, and in the 7th evil will not touch you. In hunger he will deliver you from death, and in war, from the violence of the sword. From the scourge of the tongue you will be covered, and you will not fear desolation when it comes. You will laugh at desolation and famine, and you will not fear the beasts of the earth. For even with the stones of the field you will have your agreement, and the wild beasts of the field will be peaceful with you. And you will know that your tent is at peace, and you will visit your home, and you will not sin. You will also know that your descendants and your posterity will multiply like the grass of the earth. In old age you will go to the grave, as one gathers the sheaf of wheat in its season. Behold, we have already inquired of this, and it is so. Hear it, and meditate on it for your good. Job 6. Then Job responded, saying, Oh! If my sorrow were weighed correctly, and my misery were placed on the scales. Because, in truth, it would be heavier than the sand of the sea, that's why my words have been swallowed. For the arrows of the Almighty are within me, whose fiery poison sucks my spirit, the terrors of God are armed against me. Will the wild donkey bray next to the grass? Or will the ox low next to its pasture? Or shall something tasteless be eaten without salt? Or will there be a taste in the egg white? My soul refuses to touch them, for they are like disgusting food to me. I wish my wish would come true, and that God would give me what I hope for. And that God wanted to break me, and let go of his hand, and finish me. This would still be my consolation, and would refresh me in my torment, not sparing me, because I did not hide the words of the Holy One. What is my strength, that I should wait? Or what is my end, that I may still have patience? Is my strength the strength of the stone? Or is my flesh made of copper? Is my help in me? Or has true wisdom forsaken me? To the one who is afflicted, a friend should show compassion, even to the one who leaves the fear of the Almighty. My brothers treacherously treated me, like a stream, like the torrent of brooks that pass by, which are covered with frost, and in them the snow hides. As they melt with the heat, they fall apart, and as they heat up, they disappear from their place. The paths are diverted from their paths, they ascend into the void, and perish. Tema walkers see them, the Sheba passengers wait for them. They are embarrassed, having trusted, and, when they get there, they get confused. Now you are like them, you saw the terror, and you were afraid. Did I say, give me or offer me gifts from your possessions? Or deliver me from the hands of the oppressor? Or redeem me from the hands of tyrants? Teach me, and I will remain silent, and make me understand where I was wrong. Oh! How strong are the words of good reason! But what is it that blames your argument? Will you perhaps seek words to rebuke me, seeing that the reasons of the desperate are like the wind? But first you cast lots for the orphan, and you dig a grave for your friend. Now therefore, if you are served, look to me, and see if I lie in your presence. Return therefore, let there be no iniquity, return, I say, that my righteousness will yet appear in this. Is there iniquity in my tongue? Or could my palate not distinguish wicked things? Job 7. Does not man have war on earth? And are not his days like the days of the newsboy? Like the servant who longs for the shadow, and like the day laborer who waits for his pay. So they gave me months of vanity as an inheritance, and nights of work prepared me. Laying me down to sleep, then I say, when will I get up? But the night is long, and I get tired of tossing and turning in bed until dawn. My flesh has become clothed with worms and clods of dust, my skin is cracked, and it has become abominable. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and they end without hope. Remember that my life is like the wind, my eyes will never see good again. The eyes of those who see me now will see me no more, your eyes will be upon me, but I will be no more. As the cloud dissolves and passes away, so he who goes down to the grave will never come up again. He will never return to his home, nor will he ever know his place. Therefore I will not restrain my mouth, I will speak in the anguish of my spirit, I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Am I perhaps the sea, or the whale, that you should set a guard over me? Saying my bed will comfort me, my bed will ease my anxiety. Then you frighten me with dreams, and you haunt me with visions. So my soul would rather choose strangulation, and death is better than life. I abhor my life, for I would not live forever, get away from me, for vanity are my days. What is man, that you magnify him so much, and set your heart on him? And every morning you visit him, and every moment you try him? How long will you not depart from me, nor let go of me, until I swallow my saliva? If I have sinned, what shall I do to you, O guard of men? Why have you made me a target for yourself, to weigh me down? And why do you not forgive my transgression, and take away my iniquity? For now I will lie down in the dust, and you will look for me early in the morning, and I will be no more. Job 8. Then Bildad the Shuhite answering said, How long will you speak such things, and the words of your mouth will be like a rushing wind? Would God pervert the law? And would the Almighty pervert justice? If your children have sinned against him, he also has cast them into the hand of his transgression. But if you seek God early in the morning and ask the Almighty for mercy, if you are pure and upright, he will certainly soon awaken for you, and restore the abode of your righteousness. Your beginning, in truth, will have been small, but your last state will grow in extreme. Well, I beseech you, ask now of past generations, and prepare yourself for the examination of your parents. Because we are from yesterday, and we know nothing, for our days on earth are like a shadow. Will they not teach you, and speak to you, and will they not bring words out of your heart? Can reeds grow without mud? Or does the sword grow without water? While it is still in its greenness, even if it is not cut, it dries up before any other herb. Such are the paths of all who forget God, and the hope of the hypocrite will perish. Whose hope is frustrated, and his confidence will be like a spider's web. He will lean against his house, but it will not stand, he will cling to it, but he will not stand. He is lush before the sun, and his shoots come out over his garden. His roots intertwine, next to the source, to the boulder attentively. If God consumes him from his place, he will deny him, saying, I never saw you. Behold, this is the joy of his way, and others shall spring from the dust. Behold, God will not reject the upright, nor take evildoers by the hand. Until laughter fills your mouth, and your lips with joy. Those who hate you will be clothed in confusion, and the tent of the wicked will be no more. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and leave a comment. Job 9. Then Job responded, saying, In fact I know that it is so, for how would man justify himself to God? If you want to fight with him, you won't be able to respond to one of 1,000 things. He is wise in heart, and strong in power, who hardened himself against him, and had peace. He is the one who removes the mountains, without their knowing it, and who overturns them in his wrath. Which shakes the earth from its place, and its pillars tremble. He who speaks to the sun, and he does not rise, and seals the stars. Who alone stretches the heavens, and walks on the heights of the sea. What did the Ursa, the Orion, and the seven star, and the chambers of the south? Who does great and inscrutable things, and wonders without number? Behold, he passes by before me, and I see him not, and it passes before me again, and I don't feel it. Behold, he snatches the prey, who will give it back? Who will say to him, What are you doing? God will not revoke his wrath, beneath him hunch the proud helpers. How much less would I answer him, or choose my words before him? For even if I were just, I would not answer him, rather, I would ask my judge for mercy. Even if I called and he answered me, I wouldn't believe he would listen to my voice. For he breaks me with a storm, and multiplies my wounds without cause. It doesn't allow me to breathe, rather it fills me with bitterness. As for strength, behold, he is the strong one, and as for judgment, who will appoint me with it? If I justify myself, my mouth will condemn me. If it is perfect, then she will declare me wicked. If I am perfect, I do not value my soul, I despise my life. The thing is this, therefore I say that he consumes the perfect and the wicked. When the scourge kills suddenly, then he mocks the proof of the innocent. The land is given into the hands of the wicked, he covers the faces of the judges. If it's not him, who is it? And my days are faster than a post, they fled, and saw no good. They pass like sailing ships, like an eagle swooping for food. If I say, I will forget my complaint, and I will change my appearance and take heart. I fear all my pains, because I know that you will not consider me innocent. And since I am wicked, why should I labor in vain? Even if I wash myself with snow water, and purify my hands with soap, you will plunge me into the pit, and my own clothes will abhor me. For he is not a man, like me, to whom I should answer by coming together to judgment. There is no referee between us who can lay a hand on both of us. Let him take his rod from me, and let not his terror frighten me. Then I will speak, and I will not fear him, because I'm not like that in myself. Job 10. My soul is bored with my life, I will give free rein to my complaint, I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say to God, do not condemn me, let me know why you contend with me. Does it seem good to you that you oppress me, that you reject the work of your hands and shine above the counsel of the wicked? Do you perhaps have eyes of flesh? Do you see how the man sees? Are your days like the days of man? Or are your years like a man's years? To inform yourself of my iniquity, and to find out my sin? You know well that I am not wicked, yet there is no one who can deliver me from your hand. Your hands made me and formed me completely, yet you consume me. I ask you to remember that you formed me like clay and will return me to dust. Have you not leaked me like milk and curdled me like cheese? You clothed me with skin and flesh, and with bones and sinews you wove me. You have given me life and mercy, and your care kept my spirit. But these things you hid in your heart, I know that this was with you. If I sin, you watch me, and you will not excuse me from my iniquity. If he is wicked, woe is me. And if it be fair, I will not lift up my head. I am fed up with my ignominy, and see what my affliction is. Because it grows, you hunt me like a fierce lion, you do wonders for me again. You renew your witnesses against me, and multiply your anger against me, setbacks and combat are with me. Why then did you take me out of the womb? Oh! If then I had expired, and no eye could see me, then I would have been as if I had never been, and from the womb he would be taken to the grave. Are not my days few? Stop, then, and leave me, so that I may be refreshed for a little while. Before I go to the place from which I will not return, to the land of darkness and the shadow of death. A very dark land, like darkness itself, a land of the shadow of death and without any order, and where the light is like darkness. Job 11. Then Zophar the Naamathite answered and said, will there not be an answer to the multitude of words? And will the talkative man be justified? Will men be silent about your lies? And will you mock without anyone putting you to shame? For you say, my doctrine is pure, and I am clean in your eyes. But indeed, if only God would speak and open his lips against you, and make you know the secrets of wisdom, which is multiplicity and efficacy, know, then, that God requires less of you than your iniquity deserves. Will you ever reach the ways of God, or will you reach the perfection of the Almighty? As the heights of the heavens is his wisdom, what can you do? It's deeper than hell, what can you know? Its measure is longer than the earth, and wider than the sea. If he passes, imprisons, or calls to court, who will stop him? For he knows vain men, and sees vice, and he will not take you into consideration. But a vain man lacks understanding, yes, man is born as the foal of a wild donkey. If you prepare your heart, and stretch out your hands to him. If there is iniquity in your hand, cast it away from you and do not let injustice dwell in your tents. For then you will lift up your face without blemish, and you will stand firm and not be afraid. Because you will forget your tiredness, and you will remember it as waters that have passed away. And your life will rise brighter than noon, even if there is darkness, it will be like morning. And you will have confidence, because there will be hope, you will look around and rest secure. and you will lie down, and no one will scare you away, many will beg your favor. But the eyes of the wicked will fail, and their refuge will perish, and his hope will be the expiration of the soul. Job 12. Then Job responded, saying, Indeed, you are the people, and wisdom will die with you. I also have understanding like you, and am not inferior to you, and who does not know such things as these? I am a laughing stock for my friends, I, who call on God, and he answers me. The just and perfect serves as a mockery. A despicable torch is, in the opinion of the restful, one who is ready to waver on his feet. The tents of the desolators have rest, and those who provoke God are safe. In their hands God puts everything. But now ask the animals, and each one of them will teach you, and to the birds of the air, and they will tell you. Or speak to the earth, and it will teach you, even the fish in the sea will tell you. Who does not understand, from all these things, that the hand of the Lord did this? In his hand is the soul of everything that lives, and the spirit of all human flesh. Will the ear not taste words, as the palate tastes food? With the elderly is wisdom, and in longevity is understanding. With him is wisdom and strength, advice and understanding has. Behold, he tears down, and there is no one to build, he binds a man, and there is no one to release him. Behold, he withholds the waters, and they dry up, and he releases them, and they upset the earth. With him is strength and wisdom, yours is what makes mistakes and what makes you make mistakes. He takes counselors away, and makes judges go mad. He loosens the authority of kings, and binds the belt around their loins. He takes away the poor from the priests, and upsets the powerful. He takes away speech from those who believe, and takes away understanding from the elders. He pours contempt on princes, and loosens the belt of the strong. From darkness he discovers deep things, and brings to light the shadow of death. He multiplies the nations, and makes them perish. He scatters the nations, and brings them back again. He takes away the understanding of the leaders of the peoples of the earth, and makes them wander in the deserts, without a path. In the darkness they grope about, without having light, and it makes them lose their minds like drunks. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and leave a comment. Job 13. Behold, my eyes have seen all these things, and my ears have heard and understood. As you know, I also know, I am not inferior to you. But I will speak to the Almighty, and I want to defend myself before God. You, however, are inventors of lies, and you are all worthless doctors. I wish you were completely silent, for that would be your wisdom. Now listen to my defense, and listen to the arguments on my lips. Will you speak wickedly for God, and for him will you speak lies? Will you have respect for his person? Will you contend for God? Would it be good for you if he investigated you? Or will you mock him, as one mocks a man? He will certainly rebuke you if you secretly show respect for persons. Will not his highness dismay you, and the terror of him fall upon you? Your memories are like gray proverbs, your defenses like slime defenses. Be silent before me, and I will speak, and whatever may come upon me. Why should I take my flesh with my teeth, and put my life in my hand? Even if he kills me, I will wait for him, yet I will defend my ways before him. He too will be my salvation, but the hypocrite will not come before him. Listen carefully to my words, and with your ears to my declaration. Behold, I have ordered my cause, and I know that I will be found righteous. Who is he that will contend with me? If I were silent now, I would surrender my spirit. Only two things do not do to me, then I will not hide from your face. Turn your hand away from me, and let me not be frightened by your terror. So call, and I will answer, or I will speak, and you will answer me. How many faults and sins do I have? Notify me of my transgression and my sin. Why do you hide your face, and consider me your enemy? Will you chase a leaf caught by the wind? And will you chase the dry stubble? Why do you write bitter things against me, and make me inherit the guilt of my youth? You also put my feet in the trunk, and observe all my ways, and mark the signs of my feet. And he consumes me like rottenness, and like clothes that moths eat away. Job 14. Man, born of woman, is of few days and full of restlessness. He goes out like a flower, and withers, he also flees like a shadow, and does not remain. And upon this one you open your eyes, and you bring me into judgment with you. Who will bring out the clean from the unclean? Nobody. Since his days are determined, with you is the number of his months, and you have set limits for him, and he will not go beyond them. Turn away from him, so that he may have rest, until, like the newsboy, he finds contentment in his day. For there is hope for the tree, which, if it be cut down, will still be renewed, and its growth will not cease. If its root grows old in the earth, and its trunk dies in the dust, at the smell of the water it will sprout and give branches like a plant. However, when a man dies, he is consumed, man yielding the spirit, then where is he? As the waters withdraw from the sea, and the river is exhausted, and becomes dry, so a man lies down, and does not get up, until there are no more heavens, he will neither wake nor awaken from his sleep. Oh, that you would hide me in the grave, and hide me until your wrath was gone, and put a limit on me, and remember me. If a man dies, will he live again? Every day of my battle I would wait, until my change came. You would call me, and I would answer you, and you would have affection for the work of your hands. But now you count my steps, do you not watch over my sin? My transgression is sealed in a sack, and you heap up my iniquities. And, in truth, when the mountain falls, it falls apart, and the rock is removed from its place. The waters wear away the stones, the floods drown the dust of the earth, and you destroy man's hope. You forever prevail against him, and he passes away, you change his face, and you fire him. His children receive honor without his knowing it, they are humiliated, without him noticing. But his flesh in him mourns, and his soul in him mourns. Job 15. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, Shall the wise man speak vain wisdom? And he will fill his belly with the east wind. Arguing with words that are of no use, and with reasons that are of no use? And you have made fear vain, and have diminished your prayers before God. For your mouth declares your iniquity, and you choose the tongue of the cunning. Your mouth condemns you, not I, and your lips testify against you. Are you perhaps the first man born? Or were you formed before the hills? Or have you listened to the secret advice of God and limited your wisdom to yourself? What do you know that we don't know? What do you understand that there is not in us? There are also among us gray-haired and elderly people, much older than your father. Do you perhaps ignore the consolations of God and the gentle words we speak to you? Why does your heart take you away, and why do your eyes blink? To turn your spirit against God, and let such words come out of your mouth? What is man that he should be pure? And what is born of a woman, to be fair? Behold, he does not trust in his saints, nor are the heavens pure in his eyes. How much more abominable and corrupt is the man who drinks iniquity like water? Listen to me, I will show you, and what I have seen I will tell you. What the wise men announced, when they heard from their fathers, and did not hide it. To whom only the land was given, and no stranger passed among them. Every day the wicked is tormented, and a certain number of years are reserved for the tyrant. The sound of horrors is in his ears, even in peace the destroyer comes upon him. He does not believe that he will return from darkness, but that the sword awaits him. He wanders about for bread, saying, Where is it? He knows well that the day of darkness is already prepared for him, at hand. Anguish and tribulation haunt him, they prevail against him, like a king prepared for battle. For he stretched out his hand against God, and became angry with the Almighty. It lunges at him with its stiff neck, and at the thick points of its shields. Because he covered his face with his fat, and created fat on his sides. And he dwelt in desolate cities, in houses where no one lived, which were about to become heaps of ruins. He will not become rich, nor will his wealth survive, nor will his possessions spread throughout the land. He will not escape the darkness, the flame of the fire will dry up his shoots, and with the breath of his mouth he will disappear. Therefore let him not trust in vanity, deceiving himself, for vanity will be his reward. Before his day it will be consummated, and his branch will not grow again. He will shake off his unripe grapes like grapes on a vine, and let his blossom fall like an olive tree. For the congregation of the hypocrites will become barren, and the fire will consume the tents of bribery. They conceive malice, and give birth to iniquity, and his belly prepares deceptions. Job 16. Then Job answered, saying, I have heard many things like these, you are all troublesome comforters. Will there never be an end to these windy words? Or what irritates you, so you respond? Would I also speak as you speak, if your soul were instead of my soul, or would I heap words against you, and shake my head against you? Rather I would strengthen you with my mouth, and the consolation of my lips would ease your pain. If I speak, my pain does not cease, and if I remain silent, what is my relief? Indeed, now you have made me weary, you devastated my entire company. Witness this is that you have already made me wrinkled, and my thinness has already risen up against me, and in my face it testifies against me. In his anger he tore me to pieces, and he persecuted me, he gnashed his teeth against me, my adversary sharpens his eyes against me. They open his mouth against me, with contempt they struck me on the chin, and they are all gathered together against me. God hand me over to the wicked, and make me fall into the hands of the wicked. I was at rest, but he broke me, and he took me by the neck, and tore me in pieces, he also targeted me. His archers surround me, he pierces my kidneys, and does not spare me, and my gall pours out on the ground. Strike me with wound upon wound, attack me like a brave man. I sewed the hair shirt over my skin, and rolled my head in the dust. My face is all red from weeping, and upon my eyelids is the shadow of death. Even though there is no violence in my hands, and my prayer is pure. Oh! Earth, do not cover my blood, and there is no place to hide my cry. Behold, now also my witness is in heaven, and my testimony is on high. My friends are the ones who make fun of me, my eyes burst into tears before God. Oh! If anyone could contend with God for man, as man for his neighbor. Because after a few years, I will follow the path I will never return to. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and leave a comment. Job 17. My spirit is being consumed, my days are fading away, and I only have the grave before me. Indeed I am surrounded by mockers, and my eyes behold their taunts. Promise now, and give me a surety for you, who is there to give me a hand? Because you have hidden understanding from their hearts, therefore you will not exalt them. Whoever denounces his friends to be spoiled, his children's eyes will also fail. But he made me a proverb of the people, so that I became an abomination to them. Therefore my eyes are darkened with grief, and all my limbs are like a shadow. The upright will be amazed at this, and the innocent will rise up against the hypocrite. And the righteous will go his way steadfastly, and the pure of hands will grow in strength. But truly, all of you, return and come, for I will find none wise among you. My days passed, and my purposes, the aspirations of my heart, failed. They exchanged night for day, the light is near the end, because of the darkness. If I wait, the grave will be my home, in the darkness I will spread my bed. To corruption I cry, you are my father, and to worms, you are my mother and my sister. Where then would be my hope now? Yes, my hope, who can see it? The bars of the grave will come down when together in the dust we will rest. Job 18. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered and said, How long will you put an end to words? Consider well, and then we will speak. Why are we treated like animals, and as unclean in your eyes? O you, who tear your soul in your wrath, will the earth be left because of you? Will the rocks be removed from their place? Indeed, the light of the wicked will go out, and the flame of their fire will not shine. The light will be darkened in his tents, and his lamp on him will go out. His sure steps will narrow, and his own counsel will overthrow him. For by his own feet he is cast into the net, and he will walk in the entangled threads. The snare will catch him by the heel, and the trap will catch him. A rope is hidden under the ground, and a trap is in the path. Astonishments will astonish you from all sides, and will haunt you at every step. His vigor will be starved, and destruction is ready at his side. The members of his body will be devoured, yeah, the firstborn of death shall devour his members. His confidence will be torn from his tent, where he is entrusted, and this will make him walk towards the king of terrors. He will live in his own tent, which does not belong to him, sulfur will be sprinkled over his dwelling. Below its roots will dry up, and above its branches will be cut off. His memory will perish from the earth, and the streets will have no name. From the light they will cast him into darkness, and drive him away from the world. he will have no son or grandson among his people, nor anyone who will succeed him in his homes. Those in the west will be astonished at his day, just as those in the east are astonished. Such indeed are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not God. Job 19. But Job answered, saying, How long will you afflict my soul and break me with words? You have reproached me 10 times already, you are not ashamed to insult me. Although I am, in fact, wrong, my error will remain with me. If you really want to magnify yourselves against me, and accuse me of my reproach, know now that God is the one who upset me, and with his net he surrounded me. Behold, I cry out, violence. But I am not heard. Shout, help! But there is no justice. He has entrenched my path, and I can no longer pass, and he has set darkness on my paths. He stripped me of my honor, and he took the crown from my head. He has broken me on all sides, and I am gone, and he plucked up my hope, like a tree. And he made his wrath kindle against me, and counted me as his enemies. His troops came together, and prepared his way against me, and encamped around my tent. He has put my brothers far from me, and those who know me have departed from me as strangers. My relatives have left me, and my acquaintances have forgotten me. My domestics and my servants considered me a stranger, and I became a foreigner in their eyes. I called my servant, and he did not answer me. I even begged him with my own mouth. My breath became strange to my wife, so much so that I begged the interest of the children of my body. Even the little ones despise me, and when I stand up, they speak against me. All the men I trust abhor me, and even those I loved have turned against me. My bones clung to my skin and my flesh, and I escaped with just the skin of my teeth. Have pity on me, my friends, have pity on me, because the hand of God has touched me. Why do you persecute me like God, and are not satisfied with my flesh? I wish now that my words were written. I wish they were recorded in a book. And that, with an iron pen, and with lead, they would be carved into the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and that in the end he will rise on the earth. And after my skin is consumed, yet in my flesh I will see God. I will see him for myself, and my eyes, and no others will behold him, and therefore my kidneys are consumed within me. Indeed, what should you say, why do we persecute him? For the root of the accusation is found in me. Fear the sword yourselves, for wrath brings the punishments of the sword, so that you may know that there is a judgment. Job 20. Then Zophar the Naamathite answered and said, Since my thoughts make me respond, I hurry. I have heard the rebuke, which shames me, but the spirit of my understanding will answer for me. Do you not know that from ancient times, since man was placed on the earth, is the joy of the wicked brief, and the joy of the hypocrites momentary? Even though his pride reaches to heaven, and his head reaches to the clouds. However, like his own dung, he will perish forever, and those who saw him will say, Where is he? Like a dream it will fly, and will not be found, and will be driven away like a vision in the night. The eye, which has already seen him, will never see him, nor will his place see him again. His children will seek to please the poor, and his hands will restore their wealth. His bones are full of the strength of his youth, but he will lie down with him in the dust. Even if evil is sweet in his mouth, and he hides it under his tongue, and keep it, and do not leave it, but retain it in your taste. Yet his food will change in his bowels, gall of asps will be inwardly. He has swallowed riches, but he will vomit them out, from his womb God will cast them. Asp poison will sip, a viper's tongue will kill him. He will not see the streams, the rivers, and the brooks of honey and butter. He will restore your work, and will not swallow it up, according to his power to change, and he will not leap for joy. Because he oppressed and abandoned the poor, and stole the house that he did not build. Because he felt no peace in his belly, nothing will save him from the things he desires. He will have nothing left of what he eats, therefore his riches will not last. When his supply is full, he will be in distress, all the force of misery will come upon him. Even though he is filling his belly, God will send the burning of his wrath upon him, and will make it rain upon him when he goes to eat. Even if he flees from the iron weapons, the bronze bow will pierce him. He will draw the sword that will come out of his body, and it will shine from his gall, and there will be terrors upon him. All darkness will hide in his hiding places, and unbreathed fire will consume him. It will do harm to what remains in his tent. The heavens will reveal his iniquity, and the earth will rise up against him. The riches of his house will be transported, in the day of his wrath they will all be poured out. This, from God, is the portion of the wicked man. This is the inheritance that God has decreed for you. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and leave a comment. Job 21. But Job answered, saying, I listened carefully to my reasons, and this may be a consolation to you. Suffer me, and I will speak, and when I have spoken, mock. Do I ever complain about any man? But even if that were the case, why wouldn't my spirit be distressed? Look at me and be amazed, and puts his hand over his mouth. For when I remember this I am troubled, and my flesh is shaken with horror. Why do the wicked live, grow old, and yet grow strong in power? His descendants settle with them before his face, and its branches before their eyes. Their homes have peace, without fear, and the rod of God is not upon them. His bull generates, and does not fail. Stop your cow, and do not abort. They bring out their children like a herd, and their children jump about. They raise their voices to the sound of the tambourine and the harp, and rejoice at the sound of the organ. In prosperity they spend their days, and in a moment they descend to the grave. And yet they say to God, Depart from us, for we do not desire to have knowledge of your ways. Who is the Almighty, that we should serve him? And will it benefit us if we pray to him? See, however, that prosperity is not in their hands. Let the counsel of the wicked be far from me. How often does it happen that the lamp of the wicked goes out, and their destruction comes upon them? And God in his wrath shares their pain. For they are like chaff before the wind, and like chaff that sweeps away the whirlwind. God saves his violence for his children, and pays them back, so that they may know him. His eyes will see his ruin, and he will drink in the wrath of the Almighty. Why, what pleasure would he have in his house, after he died, if the number of his months were cut off? Would God be taught science, he who judges the exalted? One dies in the strength of his fullness, being entirely calm and tranquil, with their buckets full of milk, and the marrow of their bones moistened. And another, on the contrary, dies in the bitterness of his heart, having not tasted the good. Together they lie in the dust, and the worms cover them. Behold, I know your thoughts well, and the evil intentions with which you unjustly do violence to me. For ye shall say, Where is the prince's house, and where is the tent in which the wicked dwell? Have you not asked those who pass by the way, and do you not know their signs? That the evil is preserved for the day of destruction, and caught up in the day of wrath? Who will accuse him of his way, and who will repay him for what he does? Finally he is taken to the tomb, and they guard his tomb. The clods of the valley are sweet to him, and all men will follow him, and before him were innumerable. How then do you comfort me with vanity? For in your answers transgression still remains. Job 22. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered, saying, Is man of any benefit to God? But the prudent man will be profitable to himself. Or hath the Almighty pleasure that thou art righteous, or any profit that thou hast made thy ways perfect? Or does he rebuke you for his fear of you, or enter into judgment with you? Is not your malice great, and your iniquities endless? Because you seized your brothers without cause, and stripped the naked of their clothes. You gave no water to the tired to drink, and you withheld bread from the hungry. But for the mighty was the earth, and the man held in respect dwelt in it. You sent away the widows empty, and the arms of the orphans were broken. That is why you are surrounded by bonds, and a sudden fear disturbs you. Or darkness in which you see nothing, and the abundance of waters that covers you. Is God not at the height of the heavens? He looks at the height of the stars, how high they are. And you say, What does God know? Will he judge through the darkness? The clouds are a hiding place for him, so that he cannot see, and he walks the circuit of the heavens. Do you want to keep the ancient path, which wicked men trod? They were caught up before their time, on its foundation a flood poured out. They said to God, Depart from us. What has the Almighty done to us? Yet he filled their houses with goods, but the counsel of the wicked be far from me. The righteous see him and rejoice, and the innocent mocks them. because our adversary was not destroyed, but the fire consumed what was left of them. So cling to him, and have peace, and good will come to you. Accept, I pray you, the law from his mouth, and put his words in your heart. If you turn to the Almighty, you will be built, if you remove iniquity from your tent, and throw your treasure in the dust, and the gold of Ophir on the stones of the rivers. Then the Almighty will be your treasure, and your accumulated silver. For then you will delight yourself in the Almighty, and will lift up your face to God. You will pray to him, and he will hear you, and you will pay your vows. You will determine some business, and it will be firm for you, and the light will shine on your paths. When they bring you down, then you will say, let there be exaltation. And God will save the humble. And he will deliver even those who are not innocent, for he will be freed by the purity of your hands. Job 23. But Job answered, saying, even today my complaint is in bitterness, my hand weighs on my groan. Oh, if I only knew where I could find it! Then I would come to your court. I would expose my cause before him, and my mouth would be filled with arguments. I would know the words with which he would respond to me, and I would understand what he said to me. Would he contend with me according to the greatness of his power? No, he would answer me first. There the upright would plead with him, and I would be rid of my judge forever. Behold, if I go ahead, it is not there, if I turn back, I don't notice it. If it operates on the left, I don't see it, if it hides on the right, it does not divide it. But he knows my way, if he proves me, I will come out like gold. In his footsteps my feet were established, I have kept his way, and have not turned from it. From the precept of his lips I never departed, and the words of his mouth I kept more than my portion. But if he has resolved something, who then will lead him astray? What his soul wants, he will do. For he will fulfill what is commanded concerning me, and many things like these he still has with him. Therefore I am troubled before him, and when I consider this, I am afraid of him. Because God has softened my heart, and the Almighty has troubled me. For I was not uprooted because of the darkness, nor did my face be covered with darkness. Job 24. Since the times have not been hidden from the Almighty, why do those who know him not see his days? Even limits remove, they steal the flocks and feed them. From the orphan they take the donkey, they take the widow's ox as a pledge. They divert those in need from the path, and the poor of the earth hide together. Behold, like wild asses in the wilderness, they go out to their work, rising early for their prey, the meadow provides food for them and their children. In the field they mow their pasture, and harvest the vineyard of the wicked. The naked man is made to spend the night without clothes, not having him covered against the cold. They are wet by the rains from the mountains, and, having no refuge, they embrace the rocks. They tear the orphan from the breasts and take the poor man's pledge. They make the naked go without clothes, and the hungry take the ears of corn. Inside its walls they squeeze the oil, they tread the winepresses, and they are still thirsty. From the cities men groan, and the souls of the wounded exclaim, and yet God does not impute it to them as madness. They are among those who oppose the light, they do not know his ways, and they do not stand in his paths. At dawn the manslayer gets up and kills the poor and needy, and at night he is like a thief. As the eye of an adulterer waits for the twilight, saying, no eye will see me, and hides his face. In the darkness they undermine the houses, which were marked during the day, they do not know the light. For the morning to them all is like the shadow of death, for, being known, they feel the terrors of the shadow of death. It is light on the surface of the water, cursed is his portion on the earth, don't go back through the vineyards. Dryness and heat break down the waters of the snow, in this way he will undo the graves of those who sinned. The mother will forget him, the worms will eat him happily, there will never be any memory of him again, and iniquity will be broken like a tree. He afflicts the barren woman who does not give birth, and he does no good to the widow. Even the powerful he drags with his strength, if he gets up, there is no safe life. If God gives them rest, they lean on it, but your eyes are on their paths. For a little while they become exalted, and then they disappear, they are slaughtered, closed like everyone else, and cut off like the heads of ears. If this is not the case now, who will deny me and undo my reasons? Thank you for watching this video, please subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and leave a comment. Job 25. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered and said, With him are dominion and fear, he makes peace in his heights. Do his troops have numbers? And on whom does not his light shine? How then should a man be just with God, and how pure would he be who is born of a woman? Behold, even the moon does not shine, and the stars are not pure in his eyes. And how much less man, who is a worm, and the son of man, who is a little worm? Job 26. But Job answered, saying, How did you help him who had no strength, and support the arm that had no strength? How didst thou counsel him that had no wisdom, and fully made known the cause, even as it was? To whom did you speak words, and whose spirit came out of you? The dead trembled beneath the waters, with their inhabitants. Hell is naked before him, and there is no covering for perdition. The north extends over the void, and suspends the earth above nothingness. He binds the waters in his clouds, yet the cloud is not torn beneath them. He covers the face of his throne, and spreads his cloud over it. He marked a boundary on the surface of the surrounding waters, to the ends of light and darkness. The pillars of the sky tremble, and are frightened by his threat. With his strength he divides the sea, and with his understanding he subdues pride. By his spirit he decorated the heavens, his hand formed the coiling serpent. Behold, these are but the edges of his paths, and how little we have heard of him. Who then would understand the thunder of his power? Job 27. And continuing Job in his speech, he said, As God lives, who turned my cause astray, and the Almighty, who embittered my soul, that, as long as there is breath in me, and the breath of God in my nostrils, my lips shall not speak iniquity, neither shall my tongue pronounce deceit. Far be it from me that I should justify you, until I expire. I will never separate my integrity from myself. I will hold fast to my righteousness and will not let go. My heart will not reproach me all my life. Let my enemy be like the wicked, and he who rises up against me like the wicked. For what will be the hope of the hypocrite, having been covetous, when God takes away his soul? Will God hear his cry when tribulation comes upon him? Will you delight in the Almighty, or will you call on God at all times? I will teach you about the hand of God, and I will not hide from you what is with the Almighty. Behold, you have all seen it, why then do you fade away in your vanity? This then is the wicked man's portion from God, and the inheritance which tyrants will receive from the Almighty. If his sons multiply, it will be to the sword, and his offspring will not be satisfied with bread. Those who remain of him in death will be buried, and their widows will not mourn. If he heaps silver like dust, and clothes like mud, he will equip them, but the righteous will put them on, and the innocent will divide the silver. And he will build his house like a moth, and like a guard who builds a tent. Rich man lies down, and will not be picked up, he opens his eyes, and he will have nothing. Dreads take hold of him like waters, at night the storm sweeps him away. The east wind takes him, and he goes away, and sweeps him from his place. And God will cast it upon him, and will not spare him, he will run away from his hand. Each one will clap their hands against him and whistle, removing him from his place. Job 28. In fact, there are veins from which silver is extracted, and places where gold is refined. Iron is taken from the earth, and copper is melted from stone. He puts an end to darkness, and searches every end, the stone of darkness and the shadow of death. He opens a mineshaft far from men, in forgotten places of the foot, hanging far from the men, they sway from side to side. From the earth comes bread, but underneath it is turned as if by fire. Its stones are the place of sapphire, and it is gold dust. The bird of prey ignores this path, and the eyes of the crow do not see it. The children of haughty beasts never trod upon it, nor did the ferocious lion pass by it. He stretches out his hand against the rock, and turns the mountains from their roots. He makes rivers come out of the rocks, and his eye sees everything that is precious. The rivers cover, and not a drop comes out of them, and brings to light what was hidden. But where will wisdom be found, and where is the place of intelligence? Man does not know its value, nor is it found in the land of the living. The abyss says, "It is not in me," and the sea says, "She is not with me." No fine gold will be given for it, nor will silver be weighed in exchange for it. Neither can it be purchased for the fine gold of Ophir, nor for the precious onyx, nor for the sapphire. gold and crystal cannot be compared with it, nor shall it be exchanged for jewelry of fine gold. There will be no mention of coral or pearls, because the value of wisdom is better than that of rubies. It will not be equal to the topaz of Ethiopia, nor can it be valued by pure gold. Where then does wisdom come from, and where is the place of intelligence? For it is hidden from the eyes of every living thing, and hidden from the birds of the air. Perdition and death say, "We have heard her fame with our ears." God understands your path, and He knows your place. For He sees the ends of the earth, and He sees everything under the heavens. When He gave weight to the wind, and He took the measure of the waters. When He prescribed laws for rain and way for thunder lightning. Then He saw her and reported, He established it, and also searched it. And He said unto the man, Behold, the fear of the Lord is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. Job 29. And Job continued in his speech, saying, Oh! I wish I could be like I was in the past months, like in the days when God kept me. When He made His lamp shine on my head, and when I walked through darkness by His light. As I was in the days of my youth, when the secret of God was upon my tent. When the Almighty was still with me, and my children around me. When I washed my steps in butter, and streams of oil flowed from the rock. When I went out to the city gate, and in the street I made my chair ready. The young men saw me and hid, and even the elderly got up and stood up. The princes restrained their words, and laid their hands over their mouths. The voice of the nobles fell silent, and their tongue clung to their taste buds. When some ear heard me, it considered me blessed, when an eye saw me, it bore witness to me. For I rescued the poor who cried out, as well as the orphan who had no one to help him. The blessing of what was perishing came upon me, and I made the widow's heart rejoice. She clothed me with righteousness, and she served as my garment, like a cloak and a diadem was my righteousness. I became eyes to the blind, and feet to the lame. He was a father to those in need, and I inquired diligently about causes I had no knowledge of. And she broke the jaws of the wicked, and took the prey from her teeth. And He said, In my nest I will expire, and I will multiply my days like the sand. My root was spread out by the waters, and the dew remained on my branches. My honor was renewed within me, and my bow was strengthened in my hand. They listened to me and waited, and in silence they heeded my advice. When I had spoken, they did not reply, and my reasons were evident to them. Because they were waiting for me, like rain, and they opened their mouths like late rain. If I laughed at them, they didn't believe it, and the light from my face didn't make them fall. I chose His path, sat as leader, and dwelt as king among His troops, as one who comforts those who mourn. Job 30. Now, however, those younger than me laugh at me, whose parents I would have disdained to put with the dogs of my flock. Of what use would the strength of the hands of those whose strength was exhausted? From want and hunger they were weakened, and they withdrew to dry, dark, desolate, and deserted places. They gathered mallows near the bushes, and their food was the roots of the juniper trees. They were driven out from among the men, and they shouted against them, as against the thief. To dwell on the banks of the valleys, and in the caves of the earth and the rocks. They roared among the bushes, and gathered under the nettles. They were children of madmen, and children of nameless people, and they were expelled from the land. Now, however, I am their song, and I serve them as a proverb. They abhor me, and flee far from me, and do not refrain from spitting in my face. Because God loosed His rope, and oppressed me, therefore they removed the bridle before my face. On the right the young men stand up, they push my feet, and prepare their paths of destruction against me. They ruin my path, they promote my misery, against them there is no helper. They come against me as through a great breach, and revolve among the desolation. Fears came over me, they pursue my honor like a wind, and my happiness passes away like a cloud. And now my soul pours out into me, the days of affliction have taken hold of me. At night my bones are pierced, and my nerves do not rest. By the greatness of my evil my garment is disfigured, which, like the collar of my tunic, girds me. He threw me into the mud, and I was like dust and ashes. I cry out to you, but you do not answer me. I'm standing, but I'm not paying attention. You have become cruel to me, with the strength of your hand you resist violently. You lift me up on the wind, you make me ride on it, and you melt my being. For I know that you will lead me to death and to the meeting house appointed for all living. But he will not stretch out his hand toward the tomb, even though they cry out for its destruction. Have I not wept over him who was afflicted, or was my soul distressed for the needy? However, while I was waiting for good, then evil came to me, while I was waiting for light, darkness came. My insides boil and are not quiet, the days of affliction surprise me. I walk blackened, but not from the sun, standing up in the congregation, I cry for help. I became a brother of jackals, and companion of ostriches. My skin is blackened upon me, and my bones are scorched from the heat. My harp has become a mourner, and my organ has become the voice of those who weep. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and leave a comment. Job 31. I made a covenant with my eyes. How, then, would you fix them on a virgin? What portion would I have from the God above, or what inheritance from the Almighty from on high? Is it not destruction for the wicked, disaster for those who do iniquity? Or does he not see my paths, and count all my steps? If I have walked falsely, and if my foot has hastened to deceit, weigh me in faithful scales, and God will know my sincerity. If my steps have strayed from the path, and if my heart follows my eyes, and if anything has clung to my hands, so let me and others sow, and let my offspring be plucked up to the root. If my heart was seduced by a woman, or if I set up betrayals at my neighbor's door, so grind my wife to another, and others bow down to her. Because it is an infamy, and it is a crime belonging to the judges. For it is fire that consumes to destruction, and would uproot all my income. If I despise the rights of my manservant or my maidservant, when they contended with me, so what would I do when God rises? And, asking the question, what would you answer? Did not he who formed me in the womb also make him? Or did he not form us in the same way in mother? If I withheld what the poor desired, or made the widow's eyes fail, or if, alone, I ate my morsel, and the orphan did not eat of it. For from my youth he grew up with me as with his father, and I was the widow's guide from my mother's womb. If I saw anyone perish for lack of clothing, and someone in need because he had no covering, if his loins did not bless me, if he did not warm himself with the skins of my lambs, if I lifted my hand against the orphan, because I saw my help at the door, then let my shoulder fall from my shoulder, and my arm be separated from the bone. Because God's punishment was an astonishment to me, and I could not bear the greatness of it. If I have put my hope in gold, or said to fine gold, you are my trust. If I rejoiced that my wealth was great, and that my hand had achieved much. If I looked at the sun, when it shone, or at the moon, walking in glory, and my heart was deceived in secret, and my mouth kissed my hand, this too would be a crime punishable by judges, for then I would deny God who is up there. If I rejoiced at the misfortune of those who hate me, and if I rejoiced when evil struck him, nor did I let my mouth sin, wishing his death with a curse. If the people in my tent didn't say, ah, who will give us of his flesh? We would never get enough of her. The foreigner did not spend the night on the street, I opened my doors to the traveler. If, like Adam, I have covered my transgressions, hiding my transgression in my bosom. For I feared the great crowd, and the contempt of the families terrified me, and I held my peace, and did not go out of the door. Oh! I wish I had someone who would listen to me. Behold, my desire is that the Almighty will answer me, and that my adversary will write a book. I would certainly carry it on my shoulder, I would tie it as a crown on me. The number of my steps would show you, as a prince I would approach him. If my land cries out against me, and its furrows cry together. If I ate its fruits without money, and suffocated the souls of its owners. For wheat give me thistles, and for barley tares. Job's words are finished. Job 32. Then those 3 men ceased to answer Job, because it was righteous in his own eyes. And the anger of Elihu, the son of Barachel the Buzite, of the family of Ram, was kindled, his anger was kindled against Job, because he justified himself more than God. His anger was also kindled against his 3 friends, because, finding no answer, they nevertheless condemned Job. Elihu, however, waited to speak to Job, because they were older than him. When Elihu saw that there was no longer any answer in the mouths of those 3 men, his anger was kindled. And Elihu the son of Barachel the Buzite answered, saying, I am young, and ye are old. I was afraid to declare my opinion to you. I said, Let the days speak, and the multitude of years teach wisdom. Verily, there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty makes him understood. The great are not the wise, nor do the old understand what is right. So I say, Listen to me, and I too will declare my opinion. Behold, I waited for your words, and listened to your considerations, until you sought reasons. Therefore, considering you, behold, there is none of you who can convince Job, nor answer his reasons. Lest ye say, We have found wisdom, God overthrew him, and not any man. Now he has not spoken a word against me, nor will I answer him with your words. They are stunned, they no longer respond, words fail them. So I waited, but they didn't speak, because they have already stopped, and they no longer respond. I too will answer for my part, I too will declare my opinion. Because I am full of words, my spirit constrains me. Behold, within me I am like new wine, without a vent, ready to burst, like new wineskins. I will speak, so that you may find relief, I will open my lips, and I will answer. May I not be a respecter of persons, nor use flattering words towards man. Because I don't know how to use flattery, soon my Creator would take me away. Job 33. So indeed, O Job, hear my reasons, and give ear to all my words. Behold, I have opened my mouth, my tongue has already spoken beneath my palate. My reasons prove the sincerity of my heart, and my lips utter pure knowledge. The Spirit of God made me, and the inspiration of the Almighty gave me life. If you can, answer me, put your reasons in order before me, and introduce yourself. Behold, I came from God, like you, I was also formed from clay. Behold, my terror shall not disturb you, neither shall my hand be heavy upon you. Verily thou hast spoken in my ears, and I heard the voice of your words. You said, I am clean, without transgression, I am pure, and have no iniquity. Behold, he seeks a pretext against me, and regards me as his enemy. He places my feet in the trunk, and observes all my paths. Behold, you are not right in this, I answer you, for God is greater than man. Why do you argue with him, when he does not respond to all his deeds? Before God speaks once and twice, but no one pays attention to that. In a dream or in a night vision, when deep sleep falls upon men, and they fall asleep in bed. Then he reveals him in the ears of men, and seals his instruction to them. To separate man from what he does, and hide pride from man. To turn his soul from the pit, and his life from the sword. Also in his bed he is punished with pain, and with incessant strife in their bones. So that his life abhors even bread, and his soul detestable food. His flesh disappears before the eyes, and his bones, which were not visible, now appear. And his soul goes to the pit, and his life to those who bring death. If there be with him a messenger, an interpreter, one among thousands, to declare to a man his righteousness. Then he will have mercy on him, and will say to him, Deliver him, lest he go down into the pit, I already found rescue. His flesh will be more vibrant than it was in his youth, and he will return to the days of his youth. He will indeed pray to God, who will be pleased with him, and will see his face with joy, and will restore to man his righteousness. He will look upon men, and say, I have sinned, and perverted the law, which profited me nothing. But God saved my soul from going to the pit, and my life will see the light. Behold, all this is the work of God, 2 and 3 times toward man. To divert his soul from perdition, and illuminate him with the light of the living. Hear therefore, O Job, hear me, shut up, and I will speak. If you have anything to say, answer me, speak, because I want to justify you. If not, listen to me, be silent, and I will teach you wisdom. Job 34. Elihu answered further, saying, Listen, you wise men, to my reasons, and you who understand, incline your ears to me. Because the ear tastes words, as the palate tastes food. Let us choose what is right for us, and let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job said, I am righteous, and God took away my right. Despite my rights I am considered a liar, my wound is incurable, although I am without transgression. What man is there like Job, who drinks mockery like water? And does he walk with the workers of iniquity, and walk with ungodly men? For he said, there is no profit to a man if he delights in God. Therefore, you men of understanding, listen to me, far be it from God to do evil, and far from the Almighty to commit wickedness. For according to a man's work he pays him, and he makes to everyone according to his own way. Also, in truth, God does not act impiously, nor does the Almighty pervert judgment. Who gave him the government of the earth? And who made the whole world? If he would set his heart against man, and gather his spirit and his breath to himself, all flesh together would expire, and man would return to the dust. If therefore there is understanding in you, hear this, incline your ears to the sound of my word. Would anyone who hated the law prevail? And would you condemn him who is just and mighty? Or will one say to a king, oh, vile? Or to princes, oh, wicked? How much less of him, who has no respect for the persons of princes, nor esteems the rich more than the poor, because they are all the work of his hands. They die in a moment, and until midnight the people are disturbed, and pass away, and the mighty will be taken not by human hand. For his eyes are on everyone's path, and he sees everyone's every step. There is no darkness or shadow of death where those who work iniquity hide. For God does not burden a man more than is fair, to bring him to justice before him. He breaks the strong, without being able to ask, and puts others in their place. He therefore knows his works, at night he upsets them, and they are crushed. He beats them like the wicked that they are, in full view of the spectators. Because they turned away from him, and understood none of his ways. So that the cry of the poor would rise up to him, and that he would hear the cry of the afflicted. If he calms down, who will then disturb? If he hides his face, who then can behold him? Whether this is for a people, or for a single man. So that the hypocritical man will never reign again, and there will be no ties among the people. Indeed, whoever said to God, I have borne punishment, I will not offend again. What I don't see, you teach me. If I have done something bad, will I never do it again? Will the reward come from you, so that you reject it? You, therefore, and not I, make the choice, tell me what you know. Men of understanding will say with me, and the wise man who listens to me. Job spoke without knowledge, and his words lack prudence. My father. Job was tested to the end, by his responses typical of evil men. For to his sin he adds transgression, among us he claps his hands, and multiplies his words against God. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and make a comment. Job 35. Elihu answered further, saying, Do you have the right to say, my righteousness is greater than God's? Because you said, what good would it do me? What would I benefit more than from my sin? I will give you an answer, to you and to your friends with you. Attend to the heavens, and see, and behold the highest clouds, which are higher than you. If you sin, what will you do to him? If your transgressions increase, what will you do to him? If you are righteous, what will you give him, or what will he receive from your hand? Your impiety would harm another like you, and your righteousness would benefit the Son of Man. Because of many oppressions men cry out because of the arm of the great. But no one says, Where is God who created me, who gives psalms in the night? That he teaches us more than the beasts of the earth and makes us wiser than the birds of the air? They cry out, but he does not respond, because of the arrogance of the wicked. It is certain that God will not listen to vanity, nor will the Almighty pay attention to it. And as for that which thou hast said, that thou shalt not see him, there is judgment before him, so wait for him. But now, because his wrath is not yet exercised, nor does he greatly consider arrogance. Soon Job opens his mouth in vain, and without knowledge he multiplies words. Job 36. Elihu continued further and said, Wait for me a little, and I will show you that there are still reasons in favor of God. I will bring my knowledge from afar, and to my Creator I will ascribe justice. For in truth, my words will not be false, with you is one who has perfect knowledge. Behold, God is very great, yet he despises no one, great is he in strength and wisdom. He does not preserve the life of the wicked, and gives justice to the afflicted. He does not take his eyes off the righteous, rather they are with kings on the throne, there he seats them forever, and so they are exalted. and if they are bound in fetters, bound with cords of affliction. Then he makes known to them their work and their transgressions, because they prevailed in them. He also opens their ears to them, for their discipline, and commands them to turn from wickedness. If they listen to him and serve him, they will end their days in good times, and their years in delights. But if they do not listen to him, they will be put to the sword, and they will expire without knowledge. And the hypocrites in heart heap up wrath to themselves, and tying them up, they do not cry for help. His soul dies in his youth, and his life perishes among the unclean. He delivers the afflicted from their affliction, and in times of oppression he reveals himself to their ears. In the same way he will turn you away from the mouth of trouble to a spacious place where there is no cramp, and the delicacies on your table will be full of fat. But you are full of the judgment of the wicked, judgment and justice sustain you. Because there is wrath, take care that you are not struck by violent punishment, for you would not be freed from it by any ransom. Would he value your riches so much? No, not gold, not all the forces of power. Do not sigh for the night, when the people are taken from their place. Take care, and do not descend to iniquity, because you chose this rather than affliction. Behold, God is exalted in his power, who teaches like him? Who prescribed your path? Or who will say to him, you have done evil? Remember to magnify his work, which men behold. All men see her, and man sees her from afar. Behold, God is great, and we do not understand him, and the number of his years cannot be searched. Because it makes the drops of water tiny, which, from its vapor, spill the rain, which the clouds distill and drip upon man abundantly. Can anyone understand the expanses of the clouds, and the noises of his tent? Behold, he spreads his light upon them, and hides the depths of the sea. For by these things he judges the people and gives them food in abundance. With the clouds he covers the light, and commands it not to shine, interposing the cloud. Which gives us an understanding of his thoughts, as well as the cattle, regarding the rising storm. Job 37. At this my heart also trembles, and leaps from its place. I carefully listened to the indignation in his voice, and the sound that came out of his mouth. He sends him under all the heavens, and his light to the ends of the earth. After this a voice roars, he thunders with his majestic voice, and he does not stop them when his voice is heard. With his voice God thunders wonderfully, he does great things, which we cannot understand. For he says to snow, fall to the earth, as well as drizzle and heavy rain. He seals the hands of every man, that all men may know his work. And the wild beasts enter their hiding places and remain in their caves. The typhoon comes out of the southern chamber, and the cold comes out of the north. By the breath of God the frost comes, and the wide waters freeze. It also carries moisture in the thick clouds, and sprinkles the clouds with its light. Then they, according to his prudent advice, spread themselves around, so that they may do whatever he commands them on the surface of the world on earth. Whether by rod, or to his land, or by mercy he makes them come. To this, O Job, incline your ear, stop, and consider the wonders of God. Do you know how God works them, and makes the light from his cloud shine? Do you have news of the balance of the thick clouds and the wonders of him who is perfect in knowledge? Or how warm your clothes are, when there is calm on the earth from the south? Or did you stretch out with him the heavens, which are firm as a molten mirror? Teach us what we will say to him, for we cannot put anything in good order because of the darkness. Would anyone tell you what I've been saying? Or would a man wish that he were devoured? And now one cannot look at the sun, which shines in the clouds, when the wind, having passed, leaves it clean. The golden splendor comes from the north, for in God there is tremendous majesty. We cannot reach the Almighty, great is in power, but oppresses no one in judgment and greatness of justice. That's why men fear him, he does not respect those who think they are wise at heart. Job 38. After this the Lord answered Job out of a whirlwind, saying, Who is this that darkens counsel with words without knowledge? Now he girds up your loins like a man, and I will ask you, and you will teach me. Where were you when I founded the earth? Let me know if you have intelligence. Who took the measurements, if you know? Or who stretched the string over her? On what are its foundations founded, or who laid its cornerstone? when the morning stars sang together for joy, and all the children of God shouted for joy? Or who closed the sea with doors, when it broke and came out of the womb? When I made the clouds his garment, and the darkness his sash? When I set limits for him, and put doors and bars on him? And he said, Hitherto wilt thou come, and no farther, and here shall the pride of thy waves stand still? Or since your days you have commanded the dawn, or you have shown the dawn its place, that it might reach the ends of the earth, and the wicked might be shaken out of it. And they were changed like clay under the seal, and they were put on like garments. And their light is turned away from the wicked, and their proud arm is broken. Or did you go to the origins of the sea, or did you walk in the depths of the abyss? Or have the gates of death been discovered to you, or have you seen the gates of the shadow of death? Or have you reached the breadth of the earth with your understanding? Let me know if you know all this. Where is the path where the light lives? And as for darkness, where is its place? So that you can bring them to their limits, and so that you can know the paths to their home? You certainly know this, because you were born then, and because the number of your days was great. Or did you enter into the treasures of the snow, and see the treasures of the hail? What do I hold until the time of trouble, until the day of battle and war? Where is the path in which the light divides, and the east wind spreads over the earth? Who opened a bed for the flood, and a path for the thunder's lightning? To rain on the earth, where there is no one, and on the desert, where there is no man. To satisfy the desolate and desolate land, and to make the branches of grass grow? Does rain perhaps have a father? Or who generated the dewdrops? From which belly did the ice come? And who generated the frost of the sky? As under stone the waters harden, and the surface of the abyss freezes. Or can you gather the delights of the seven star, or loosen the strings of Orion? Or produce the constellations in due time, and guide the bear with her children? Knowest thou the ordinances of the heavens, or canst thou establish their dominion upon the earth? Or can you lift your voice to the clouds, so that the abundance of waters may cover you? Or will you command the lightning to come out, and say to you, Here we are? Who put wisdom within, or who gave the mind understanding? Who will number the clouds wisely? Or the wineskins of the heavens, who will empty them? When the powder melts into a mass, and the clouds stick together? Will you hunt prey for the lioness, or satisfy the hunger of the young lions? When they crouch in the dens, and lie in wait in the pits? Who prepares food for the crows when their young cry to God and wander about because they have nothing to eat? Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and make a comment. Job 39. Do you know the time when mountain goats give birth, or have you seen deer when they give birth? Will you count the months that pass, or do you know the time of your birth? When they bow down, they produce their children, and cast away their pains. Your children become strong, they grow with the wheat, they leave, and never return to them again. Who released the wild ass free, and who released the wild ass from prison? To whom I gave the wilderness for a home, and the salt land for a dwelling? Laugh at the noise of the city, he doesn't hear the driver's many screams. The mountainous region is his pasture, and he seeks out everything that is green. Or, will you want to serve you the wild ox? Or will it stay in your corral? Or will you tie the wild ox to the plow with rope? Or will he dig the valleys after you? Or will you trust him, because his strength is great? Or will you leave your work to him? Or will you trust him to return to you what you sowed and gather it on your threshing floor? The ostrich beats its wings happily, but are its wings and feathers benign? She leaves her eggs in the earth, and warms them in the dust. And she forgets that some foot can trample them, or that the animals of the field can trample them. She hardens herself towards her children, as if they were not hers. It's her job in vain, but she is without fear. For God deprived her of wisdom, and gave her no understanding. In times she rises high, he laughs at the horse, and at the person riding it. Or will you give strength to the horse, or clothe its neck with manes? Or will you scare him away, like a grasshopper? Terrible is the fiery breath of her breath. He digs up the earth, and relaxes his strength, and goes out to meet the armed men. She laughs at fear, and is not frightened, and does not turn back because of the sword. Against him the quiver rattles, the flaming iron of the spear and javelin. Agitating and indignant, she serves the land, and ignores the sound of the horn. When the horns sound he says, "Hey!" And it smells of war from afar, and the thunder of captains, and the noise. Or does the hawk fly by your intelligence, and spread its wings towards the south? Or does the eagle return to your command and set its nest high? In the rocks he lives and dwells, on the tops of the rocks, and in the safe places. From there he discovers the prey, his eyes see her from afar. And her children suck the blood, and where there are dead, there she is. Job 40. And the Lord answered Job, saying, Is contending against the Almighty wisdom? Whoever argues like this to God must answer for it. Then Job answered the Lord, saying, Behold, I am vile, what would I answer? I put my hand over my mouth. Once I have spoken, and I will not reply, or even twice, but I will not continue. Then the Lord answered Job out of a whirlwind, saying, Now gird up your loins like a man, I will ask you, and you will explain to me. Will you also make my judgment vain, or will you condemn me to justify yourself? Or do you have an arm like God, or can you thunder with a voice like he does? Adorn yourself, therefore, with excellence and highness, and clothe yourself with majesty and glory. Pour out the fierceness of your anger, and look at everyone who is proud, and bring them down. He looks upon everyone who is proud, and humbles him, and tramples down the wicked in his place. He hides them together in the dust, bind their faces in secret. Then I also will confess to you that your right hand can save you. Now behold the behemoth, which I made with you, which eats grass like an ox. Behold, his strength is in his loins, and his power in the muscles of his belly. When he wants, he moves his tail like a cedar, the nerves of your thighs are intertwined. Their bones are like bronze tubes, its bones are like iron bars. He is a masterpiece of God's ways, the one who made it provided him with his sword. In truth, the mountains provide pasture for it, where all the animals of the field play. He lies down under the shady trees, in the hiding place of the reeds and the mud. The shady trees cover him with their shadow, the willows of the brook surround it. Behold, a river overflows, and he does not hurry, trusting even that the Jordan will rise up to his mouth. Could they perhaps hunt him in front of his eyes, or pierce his nose with lassos? Job 41. Can you take the Leviathan out with a hook, or will you bind its tongue with a rope? Can you put a hook in its nose, or pierce its jaw with a hook? Will he multiply his supplications toward you, or will he speak softly? Will he make a covenant with you, or will you take him as your servant forever? Will you play with it as if it were a bird, or will you keep it for your girls? Will your companions make a feast of it, or will they share it among the traders? Will you fill his skin with hooks, or his head with fishermen's harpoons? Lay your hand on him, remember the battle, and you will never do so again. Behold, the hope of catching him is vain, for will not a man be overthrown just by seeing him? There is no one so bold that he dares to awaken him. Who then is he that dares to stand before me? Who gave it to me first, so that I can repay him? For what is under all the heavens is mine. I will not be silent about his limbs, nor his great strength, nor the grace of his composure. Who will discover the face of your clothes? Who will enter your folded breastplate? Who will open the doors of your face? For around his teeth is terror. Its strong scales are its pride, each one closed as if with a tight seal. They get so close to each other that not even the air passes between them. They connect to each other, they adhere so much to each other that they cannot be separated. Each of his sneezes makes the light shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the dawn. Torches come out of his mouth, sparks of fire jump from it. From his nostrils comes smoke, as from a boiling pot, or from a large boiler. Your breath sets the coals on fire, and a flame comes out of his mouth. In your neck lies strength, before him even sadness leaps with pleasure. The muscles of his flesh are stuck together, each one stands firm in it, and none moves. His heart is firm as a stone and firm as the millstone below. When he rises, the mighty tremble, because of their shocks they purify themselves. If someone touches you with a sword, it cannot penetrate, nor a spear, javelin or arrow. He regards iron as chaff, and covers it as rotten wood. The arrow will not make him flee, the stones in his slings become stubble. The thrown stones are like edges to him, and he laughs at the brandishing of the spear. Underneath it is pointed shells, it stretches over sharp things like mud. The depths boil, like a pot, makes the sea like a jar of ointment. After him he leaves a luminous path, it looks like the abyss turned into the whiteness of gray hairs. There is nothing on earth that can compare to it, as it was made to be without fear. He sees everything that is high, he is king over all the children of pride. Job 42. Then Job answered the Lord, saying, I know well that you can do anything, and that none of your purposes can be prevented. Who is this, who without knowledge conceals counsel? That's why I reported what I didn't understand, things that were inscrutable to me, and that I didn't understand. Listen to me, then, and I will speak, I will ask you, and you will teach me. I have heard with the hearing of my ears, but now my eyes see you. Therefore I abhor myself and repent in dust and ashes. It came to pass, when the Lord had finished speaking these words to Job, that the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My anger is kindled against you, and against your two friends, because you did not speak of me what was right, as mine servant Job. Therefore take 7 bulls and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer burnt offerings for yourselves, and my servant Job will pray for you, for I will indeed accept him, lest I deal with you according to your folly, for ye have not spoken of me that which was right, as my servant Job did. Then went Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, and did as the Lord had told them, and the Lord accepted the face of Job. And the Lord turned the captivity of Job, when he prayed for his friends, and the Lord added double to all that Job had before. Then came to him all his brothers, and all his sisters, and all who had known him before, and ate bread with him in his house, and commiserated with him, and comforted him concerning all the evil which the Lord had sent upon him. And each of them gave him a piece of money, and a gold pendant. And so the Lord blessed the last state of Job more than the first, for he had 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. He also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Kerenapuk. And in all the land there were no women found as beautiful as Job's daughters, and their father gave them an inheritance among their brothers. And after this Job lived 140 years, and he saw his children, and his children's children, to the 4th generation. Then Job died, old and full of days. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and make a comment.